Well, good evening there. Horse racing and Derby Day. One of the great race days in the racing calendar. Sadly, not the day it used to be. Horse racing doesn't get the coverage anymore that it used to get. It doesn't get it on the front pages, doesn't get it on the back pages, doesn't get it on the TV, and it's a shame. And horse racing in general at the moment seems to be struggling. Prize money's awful throughout the whole racing calendar. A lot of things are wrong with racing, but there's many in racing and around racing to try to make things better. And I've just got this little idea of mine, which probably, well, it would work. Might never get picked up anybody, but it's only me. But it would work. And it's based on a piece that I heard on Sunday. I'm a regular and avid watcher of Luck on Sunday. I was watching it on Sunday just gone with the great Rishi Prasad there. And they did a spot, I think it was on the talking point section, about the Derby. And they were looking at, is it called, I think it's called a day on the Downs. It may not be called that, but that's irrelevant. But just for those that don't know what I'm on about and don't know what this day is all about, they have a day probably 2, maybe 3 weeks before the Derby is run. I think it's on a Tuesday morning, if memory serves, where they open up the course to many trainers to bring the horses that they may be looking at running in the Derby to run over 3 or 4 furlongs there to see how they acclimatise to the course. Because for those that don't know it, EPSOM, the course on which the Derby is run, is very, very hard for many horses. Many horses just don't take to it. Their actions don't suit it. They just don't like it. There's many twists and turns, undulations, and a lot just cannot act on the thing. And it's a great thing for a trainer that's got a horse that he fancies for the Derby, but he's not sure it's going to be about the racecourse. So they bring it 2 or 3 weeks early. If they like what they see, they may often bring it to the Derby. If they think, no, this course isn't suited to my horse, they'll take it elsewhere. And as I say, they have this day 2 or 3 weeks before the Derby is run, I think, or something like that. And they were saying in the talking point section, maybe they could open it more to the public and get the public involved. And I think they could go a step further than that. I think firstly what they do is, yes, they open it up to the public, but what they do is they have everybody that comes through the gate from the public, they give each and every person, be it 500, 1,000, 5,000, a voucher. And with that voucher, they get a bacon sarnie and a hot drink, if they want it. And it's free, costs nothing. Costs nothing to come through the gate. It costs nothing for the bacon sarnie and the coffee. And it can be funded, rather than by the racecourse, and racecourses are struggling, maybe by the BHB or somebody high up and in power, from wherever the funds may be, from the levy, from wherever. And it's funded to get the public more interested in the race, because it needs to get more coverage, more exposure. And I think it'd be a great thing. It brings a lot of people to the racecourse that may never normally come. Some people that aren't used to coming there, but because it's free and because they'll get a sarnie there and a drink and watch some thoroughbreds close up, because they will be close up, it might be a great thing to bring new people to the racing. What I would probably also do, I would probably get a couple of tipsters or ex-jockeys to turn up, and maybe after the workout, go into the main stand or couple of the main bars in EPSOM and have a chat with anybody that goes in there that wants to come in. Have a questions and answer session about the Derby, about prices, about fancies for the race, all for free, so people can go there and spend 4 or 5 hours during the course of that day. What I would do to take it a step further, that I think, and this is the bit that was my idea and I think could be really, really good, is the racing part of things, where the horses run up the final 3, 4, 5 furlongs or whatever it may be, I would time slot it to something like, say, between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. It's a 2-hour window. I would try to get even more trainers to bring the racehorses, even trainers from Ireland, make a spectacle of it, but I would have it filmed as a show, live on Racing TV, Racing UK, a 2-hour slot. If they can get ITV, all the better, but if not, Racing TV, because they cover the Derby. And from that 9 till 11 o'clock, it actually gets covered by the racing channel. Every horse that comes up that straight is covered. You'd have one of the commentators, because I think our UK have about 3 or 4 commentators, race commentators. ITV have 1 or 2 on the roster. I'd have a commentator up in the stands, and every trainer that sends a horse there that they think may be looking at going to the Derby, they let us know what colours that horse is in, which is the horse on the inside, it's the horse on the outside, or whatever. So the serious watchers at the racecourse and at home can actually watch the horses come up that final 3 or 4 furlongs, and we can make an informed opinion as to whether we think that horse is acting on the track, whether it likes it, whether it doesn't like it, whether it excels on it. That can be a difference between a punter having a bet on that horse in the Derby or walking away from it. And I think it'd be great. I think it'd be something really different. I think they could do it on a yearly basis. And the more successful it is, I think the more trainers will bring the horses to work out that morning on the racecourse there. And I think it'd be great. And that is what I think the racing TV people should do. Get it televised for 2 hours, have a 2 hour slot, starts at 9, ends at 11, and then maybe at 11 o'clock, as I said, the people that have been on the racecourse go into the stands or the bars. They have a few ex-jockeys in there, maybe a couple of trainers, maybe a couple of betting gurus, going through various aspects of what they've seen, how the betting is progressing, what fancies they may have. And the people on the TV, they've watched that from 9 till 11 o'clock, and from maybe 11 till 12, your old Dave Nevison there in the chair or whoever it may be, discussing what he's seen on the racecourse, what his views might be, what horses have impressed him there and what haven't. Maybe with somebody like Ruby Walsh as well, who's brilliant at watching an animal and watching how it acts. I think it'd be a good idea. That, Racing UK, is something I think you should do. I think he'll show racing in a good light. And as I say, it might bring people to the racecourse that wouldn't normally come. We may end up with a few new converts there. The fact that it'd be free and they'd be seeing horses really, really close up. Anyway, just my thoughts. May work, may not work. But if we don't give it a go, we will never know. I've got to be right there, haven't I?